About President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, you know, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, you know, they act so self-righteous.
What's happening, everybody? Charlamagne from The Breakfast Club sat down with Whoopi Goldberg and the other witches on The View yesterday. Charlamagne expressed his disappointment with Joe Biden lying about pardoning his son. Whoopi Goldberg, of course, argued that there's nothing wrong with lying. With that, let's watch Charlamagne cook Whoopi Goldberg and The View with facts, not feelings. Let's go.
Trump's campaign ads, for some, they're saying they were very effective. And in one in particular ad, he used a clip of you from The Breakfast Club saying, quote, Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. You say that line was taken out of context. I know it was. But it went on to become one of his most effective campaign ads. I'm also featured in one of his campaign ads.
You might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah. I was. He texted me and let me know that.
Context.
No. No, it wasn't. But what were you actually saying in the clip? And can you please explain that? And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, you know, the ad was effective before I was in it. I was just sitting at home watching football, and I saw it, and I was like, whoa. And so I knew the immediate reaction was going to be, you know, people are going to say, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. So I was explaining that to my listeners. So, I mean, yeah, it never feels good to be taken out of context, but what I didn't like the most was that they didn't do anything to combat it. Right. I would have ran the same ad and just said, Donald Trump, you know, what is it? Donald Trump supports, what was it?
He was the one that was supporting
Yes, Donald Trump supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. I would have ran the same ad because it was legislation under him as well. And you know what else I would have did if I was our campaign? Since Donald Trump used me, I would have used Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said Donald Trump was a threat to democracy.
I wish so badly that Kamala's campaign had run an ad saying that Trump supports sex change surgeries for prisoners. You know, the entire world would have been like, get the hell out of here, and then laughed and laughed. Charlemagne knows that he wasn't taken out of context. It was an effective ad. He was just reacting to it. But do you see how stupid Sonny Hostin is trying to create beef, like, come on our side? Like, how do you feel by the campaign using you like that? Like they can mentally manipulate him or something? I've seen Charlamagne slowly coming around. I think he has a podcast with Andrew Schultz now. I've seen him a couple times. Whether you like Andrew Schultz or you like Charlamagne, you know, Andrew Schultz is a Trump supporter, and I think he's rubbing off in a good way on Charlamagne. I really think Charlamagne realizes that the right guy got elected, but he'll never, ever admit it because he sees what's going on. Listen to his analysis during this. It's on point. But if he admits the truth, he won't be welcome back on this show. That crazy woman, Angela, won't come on his show anymore. He'll probably lose certain job opportunities. And you'll never hear him say that Trump's not that bad, essentially. Just listen to his observations during this segment. They're all 100% spot on. If you need proof, just look at how the cackling hens respond when he tells the truth. Check it out.
Joe Rogan said he thought Donald Trump was, I think, unhinged was the quote.
Right.
You got to mix it up. You got to get dirty with these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to muddy the waters a little bit, cause confusion.
Yeah. Let me ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it? I
mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, you know, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, you know, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, you know, whether or not, you know, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy, and they were saying that, you know, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him. That's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, oh, you know, he's above the law, I respect, you know, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You
his
really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of
No,
a sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
You're
They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral...
You see what I mean? Charlemagne's not giving like some partisan answer here. He's just speaking the truth. He's just observing what he saw, and that's offensive to them somehow. And I have to say something to Whoopi Goldberg. She said something to the effect of, "We don't know if it was a lie." Here's the deal, Whoopi. See, you're pure evil. People that are honest, like most Americans, we know the difference between the truth and a lie. It's only demons like you that can't tell the difference. I just want to put that out there. Now, obviously, Charlemagne has to give these awful women a little bit of what they want to hear. Like when he said, you got to play dirty and cause confusion. I mean, let's be honest, that probably is just part of the politics playbook, but that is the Democrats' playbook. Like, that's the single play that they have in their playbook. Kamala's campaign manager is somewhere being like, did he take mine? But then talking about Joe Biden, he says he didn't have to volunteer that lie. It's so well said. I mean, come on, how can he acknowledge that? And he sees this stuff happening all the time and then act like he's down with the Democrats. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
high ground is?
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He didn't. You know.
Because he changed his...
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning
But
Hunter
you sound
Biden.
like you're
No.
If I could get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the
Yes.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. This same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm...
So Whoopi thinks it's okay for Joe Biden to lie because everyone else is getting over. She's obviously completely wrong, but once again, she exposes the way she thinks. She thinks everyone else is doing a bad thing. I know it's wrong, but I'm entitled to do it because everyone else is. The definition I've always held for the word integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. That is a foreign concept to this woman and to all these ladies on there. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. How about that statement, huh? When Joe Biden does something, everyone clutches their pearls. Did those words really just come out of her mouth? Aren't you the same one who tells us every day that Trump is Hitler and he's the end of democracy? Isn't every single word Donald Trump speaks scrutinized beyond belief? 90% of your show is freaking out over anything Donald Trump says, not even necessarily his actions. Then when Biden actually takes action to break a promise he very clearly made, he lies straight to the American people, breaks his word, and then gives his son a pardon over 10 to 11 years. Why 10 to 11 years? How many crimes were there? So I guess the new standard is anyone who criticizes Joe Biden and the Democrat Party's blatant hypocrisy, we're pearl clutching now? How can this broad say this with a straight face? So dumb. Let's get back to it.
If you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about
That's
anything.
why I'm an independent.
Yes, but that's
And I
not,
think that's the best way to go.
but that's monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats
So
are
you
wrong.
don't think Joe
I say
Biden
it
is
on the
wrong?
show.
No, I don't.
don't.
And can I
Well,
just point this out to you? The president has a part in power,
you're
right?
ridiculous.
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah.
I would never. I said that. I just think that's
Think about
Come over
it.
and give
Just
me a
think about
kiss.
it this. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate part in power. Every president has done this, right?
Yeah.
And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because
So
I'm not
who
in
has
that.
the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But
There was a great exchange in there. It was applause over it, but go back and watch it. Charlamagne says, "Do you think what Joe Biden did was wrong?" And Whoopi's like, "No, I don't." And he goes, "That's ridiculous." She goes, "You're ridiculous." And that's when he went over and kissed her, which is that's a whole nother discussion. That's but how crazy is it that someone pays these women to be on TV? She's 172 years old and acting like a little whiny kid. You're ridiculous. What is happening? How about them acting like Democrats are held to a higher standard than Republicans? Are you effing kidding me? She says, that's what's expected of Democrats. No, that's what you tell us, that you're all holier than thou. We know much better than that. We know we can't trust you as far as we can throw you. And you know we can't throw you that far because you're so damn slimy. We can't even get a grip. Slippery little suckers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because I sure did. I mean, I complain all the time that these witches are on TV, but I guess I kind of need to be grateful for them, right? I mean, like 90% of the topics on my channel would be non-existent if it weren't for them. So thank you, you disgusting wenches. I'm not going to subject you to hear me talking for much longer, but I could honestly talk for 2 days straight on this video alone. There's so much here. It's so great. But I'll leave with this. The Democrat leadership, including the mainstream media, stands for absolutely nothing, which coincidentally is the exact same thing that their made-up values are rooted in. They are liars and they are hypocrites. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching the monsters at The View just lose their minds over every little thing Donald Trump says, then click on one of the 2 videos that just popped up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I really, really appreciate you watching. The end.